Hi guys, today I will be sharing how to make mocha custard cake. So I have a pan which is 10 by 3. I added 1 cup of sugar. We're gonna melt this in the stove using low heat. Once you see the sugar is melting on the side, you can start moving the sugar. So we're just gonna melt the sugar until it turns into amber color. Once the sugar is melted and it turns amber color just like this, we could turn off the heat and we will set this aside. Now for the flan, we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 8 egg yolks plus 1 whole egg. So now I just gonna add the egg into the egg yolks. We also need condensed milk, which is 395 grams or 1 can will do. 375 ml of evaporated milk. And 1/4 cup of sugar. To make the flan is very easy. We're just gonna combine all the ingredients. So we're gonna combine the vanilla together with the eggs. Then we're gonna add the sugar, the evaporated milk, finally the condensed milk. And then we're just gonna mix this together using a whisk. As much as possible, avoid creating air bubbles or bubbles because we want the flan to be smooth, just like this. Just make sure that the sugar is well dissolved. And now we're gonna add this to the caramel using a strainer. And then we will set this aside and we're gonna move on to our mocha chiffon cake. For the ingredients, we're gonna need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1½ cups of cake flour, 1½ tablespoon of instant coffee, 1½ teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. I use Dutch process, ½ cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of oil, 100 ml of milk, and 6 egg yolks. Combine the cake flour, baking powder, and the salt. We're just gonna mix this and then we will set this aside. We're gonna sift this later. Now combine the liquid ingredients. So that's the milk, and then I added the vanilla. I will also add here the instant coffee and the cocoa powder. Give this a good mix. Make sure that there's no big lumps of the cocoa powder. And then we're gonna add the oil. It is well mixed. We're just gonna set this aside. Combine the sugar with the egg yolks. And then using a whisk, we're gonna beat this until the egg yolks is light pale yellow. And most of the sugar is dissolved. Just like this. And now we will add the wet ingredients. Now, once it is well combined, just like this, we're gonna sift in the dry ingredients. Using a spatula, mix the ingredients using the folding method. make sure that you don't overmix. Stop once you don't see any more traces of flour. And this is now ready. We're gonna set this aside. For the meringue, we need half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, half a cup of sugar, and 6 egg whites. So we will begin by beating the egg whites using an electric beater. We're gonna beat this until it is frothy. And then add the cream of tartar. At this point, we can start adding the sugar a little bit at a time. Once the sugar is all in, continue beating until we reach the steep peak stage. And this is now the steep peak stage. Now we're gonna combine the meringue into the coffee batter in 3 additions, again using the folding method. So this is the first addition of the meringue. Second addition. Third addition and last addition of the meringue. Again, please be gentle mixing because you don't want to deflate the air from the meringue. And now we're ready to transfer the cake batter on top of the flan. Since the cake batter is very light, it will just float on the top. And then we will bake this in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius for about 1 hour. And then we're gonna bake this over bain-marie. So I've got a baking pan in here, but before that, give this a light tap. And then I will place this over a baking pan, and then I will put water into the baking pan. So there will be steam. As you can see, I've got water on my baking pan in here. And I will just kind of let this cool down for about 45 minutes. Don't let it cool down completely so it's easy to take it out of the pan. So after about 45 minutes, I am unmolding my cake. And then I'll just kind of flip this upside down. Sometimes you need to shake the cake a little bit to release it from the baking pan. And this is what it looks like. You can put it in the fridge for a while to let the flan cool down completely. I hope you give this a try. This custard coffee cake is so good, and I can promise you will not regret making this. And just to show you what it looks like inside when you cut the cake. This cake is still very fresh from the oven. I haven't put this in the fridge yet. But still, you cannot deny how good it is. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you and bye.